This edition of the Rhode Island Spotlight is made possible by the Washington Trust Company.
Oh, you did it! That's my
On one of the prettiest afternoons of the summer, more than a dozen children gather under a sprawling magnolia tree for a program called Art in the Park. The setting? Wilcox Park in the heart of downtown Westerly, a 15-acre oasis that is hosting this and dozens of other programs and community events over the course of the summer. At the southern edge of the park is Westerly Library, founded in 1892. Together, the library and the park have been a focal point and a resource for Westerly and surrounding communities for more than a century.
I was in awe. I got lost.
The library's executive director, Bridgette Hopkins, had the same reaction many do when she first visited several years ago for a job interview. A sense of amazement.
And I feel that way every day I come in from the parking lot. I have to walk through the park, and I always kind of stop. Half the time I take a picture.
What many don't know is the library and park are privately held. Only 25% of the operating budget comes from the town of Westerly and neighboring Stonington, Connecticut. The rest from an endowment, grants, and donations.
Most libraries are municipal libraries. Some have private portions to them, so they may have associations attached, but they're not completely private. So we're fairly unique in Rhode Island. You know, you think, oh, the library and a park are so different, but they're not really. They're intellectual spaces. They're spaces where people can think and get ideas and learn. You know, learn about nature, learn about themselves.
It began in the late 1800s when Stephen Wilcox, a local business owner and inventor, stepped in after the town had unsuccessfully been trying to erect a Civil War monument.
What Stephen Wilcox did was call a public meeting and said, I have purchased property and I will also provide monies towards a Civil War memorial and public library, only to be matched by the citizens of the community, and they raised the money in record time.
That community support was a precursor of what was to come over the next 125 years. What you see today in the library and throughout the park is the result of that generosity. The main building has undergone a series of additions and renovations that create unique spaces inside, from reading areas and a computer room to an art gallery with rotating exhibits upstairs, and a teen room that was formerly a book storage area, plus a third-floor terrace room with an outside deck. The building has grown to more than 50,000 square feet, and wherever you are, a view of the park is never very far away.
I always found the library to be almost like a refuge.
Dennis Algier grew up in Westerly and was a regular at the library from an early age. He is now a state senator, works downtown, and lives across the street from the library.
As I grew older, I enjoyed it more, and oftentimes would come here to perhaps escape work, escape reality sometimes, and just immerse yourself in a book, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, a biography or autobiography, whatever the case may be, local history, and just escape.
Algier chaired this year's 125th anniversary celebration and gala, held under a huge tent on a crystal clear evening in July, right in the heart of the park. He also chaired a major renovation of the building back in 2010.
The focus was to tweak the building a bit because of the delivery of services, and also to restore some areas. We do take pride in maintaining the aesthetic value of the building. It's a beautiful building. It's very unique to the community, and it lends itself very well to the diversity of architecture we have.
A 1929 fountain at the southern entrance to Wilcox Park lines up perfectly with Town Hall across the street. Across the park, a second fountain anchors a pond built a century ago. Another thing many visitors might not know, the town's high school was located at the southern end of the park until the late 1930s, and there have been attempts over the years to encroach on the land.
Back in I think it was the 60s and 70s, there was talk about putting parking spaces and parking lots in this park, putting roads through the park, and that was not allowed, thank goodness. They maintained it, and that's again because of the Board of Trustees and those involved in the park, and those involved in town government do not want to disturb the original intent, is to maintain a Victorian strolling park in our community. It's beautiful.
The number of programs and events in the library and park has increased significantly since Hopkins took over as director 3.5 years ago. We saw numerous children's programs, the Folk Festival, and preparations for a Shakespeare in the Park series in August.
It's great that we can provide a venue or host programs because we have this space, and so we can connect these programs or events and our community members.
Thank you all for coming and supporting this. Let's support the United Theater.
Alan Peck, the park superintendent, welcomed hundreds of people to a folk festival performance on the first Saturday in July. It's the second year of the festival, and organizers handled all of the logistics, while Wilcox Park provided the setting for dozens of families to enjoy a day of music on the grass.
I'm trying to bring out the best of what we have here, because we have such an incredible collection, both of the trees and historical monuments.
Peck has 2 seasonal employees and another full-timer to help him keep the 15 acres looking like this. Just removing millweed from the pond in June was a major project. Peck, who is a licensed arborist, says the park contains 9 champion trees, meaning they are the largest of their species in the state. And Wilcox Park has the largest collection of champion trees anywhere in Rhode Island. The park also features this 350-year-old white oak near the pond, a massive tree that could live to be more than 600 years old. Everywhere you look, there is history, including this century-old bandstand, where we saw a musical group playing one day. The gazebo-like bandstand just underwent a major renovation and hosts scores of weddings every year. Just over the hill is the Park Cottage, also a century old, where caretakers used to live, with a prime view of the pond. Back at the library, visitors who come in the front door will see a calendar of events to the left, changing from week to week, and a huge plaque to the right that is a testament to the community's support.
We've been very fortunate to have people in our community region that donate to the library. It is a private library, and the park is private, open to the public. It's a unique situation, and we're very fortunate to have people in the community who recognize that and donate their time and their money.
What makes this a little bit different than the other places that you've worked?
The community. I think it's the community. The staff are great, but the community, I think, really feeds our dedication and our enthusiasm about working here. There's such pride that the community holds for the institution, and you can feel it walking in. And I think because the community supports us, we're excited to be here.
What's your hope for the next 5, 10, 15 years?
We maintain the level of services, we continue to get the support from the people in the community, and we continue to adjust to the delivery of services, because things are changing. Technology is almost forcing us to do certain things, but just understanding how to deliver the services and making sure that we keep the public happy with the library and park.
In Westerly, Jim Hummel for the Rhode Island Spotlight.